Today, we're getting under the hood of Hanneke Willenborg, a mother, sister, friend, women's health and wellness advocate, and the CEO of OLLY. Hanneke was born and raised in the Netherlands and now lives in the San Francisco Bay Area with her husband and their 3 kids. Hanneke holds an MBA in business management, marketing, and related support services from University of Groningen in the Netherlands. She comes to OLLY from a long background of Unilever positions in many cities, countries, and companies around the world, including Ben & Jerry's and Seventh Generation. Hanneke joined OLLY as the first female CEO in the summer of 2021 and takes great pride in OLLY's social mission of eliminating the stigma surrounding mental health. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, and what a wonderful introduction.
If it's okay, let's get going. Now, this is the question I ask every woman, but what's fantastic is the individual answers. And so, you're the CEO of OLLY now. What was that inflection point? What really became and made you aware and the desire to get into the wellness space?
Well, let me first say thank you for having me, Elizabeth. It's a great honor and privilege to have my voice raised in this platform that you're building. And what an amazing journey you're on. So supportive of the missions and what you're building and how you're going to lift all women and really build that amazing health platform. So big congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So let me talk a little bit about how I got to OLLY. So OLLY is a San Francisco-based vitamin and mineral company. It was founded in 2015 by our founder, Eric Ryan, and has been doing tremendously ever since. It was first a B Corp in 2017, and obviously we still stand by and feel very proud of our B Corp status. And I feel very passionate about B Corp. B Corps are companies that are looking to really deliver much more than just profit for shareholders, but they're really looking at how we're going to be making an impact across people, profit, and planet at the end of the day. So that's really the idea of OLLY. The idea of OLLY is to bring benefits to a category that until that time was actually quite boring and difficult to navigate for people. And we made it into a category that was absolutely delightful, science-based, and benefit-driven. And therefore, we're giving people a little bit of a better night's sleep, or with our loving libido, a better night's sex, or with our stress gummies, just a little bit better ability to cope for the day. And that is super close to my heart. What I always say is that if I'm having a day at OLLY where I'm doing things that I don't particularly like and I want to reboot my energy, I go and read our Loving Libido reviews and see the stories about how we're helping people give their sex life a boost, and how that is being perceived and what people write about that. And that gives me such an energy to continue to do what we're doing. In our monthly family lunches, we read our love letters that people write us about why they take us. And it's just amazing to work in a business where you have such an amazing contribution to the people that you serve. So yeah, let me start by that.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing. And yeah, OLLY is an unbelievable brand. It's bright, it's happy. I'm kind of curious though. It's interesting going from Ben & Jerry's, then to Seventh Generation, now into OLLY. As you were moving from Seventh Generation and now into the wellness space, how do you feel about that transition and really getting in there?
So what's the magic thread between all of these 3 companies is all 3 are B Corp. So all 3 have a huge passion around that 3-part mission around people, planet, and profit. What is also the thread through these companies is that they have a super strong purpose and a strong mission in different areas. Of course, Ben & Jerry's is all about social justice. Seventh Generation is all about environmental justice and the reduction of unknown chemicals within things that touch us. So very, very much about safety and sustainability. And OLLY is really in the area of mental health and reducing stigma. And not only on mental health, but also on women's health. Because what we are finding is that the reason people are not getting the help they need is the stigma that is still around these areas. And specifically in the space of mental health and well-being, that's so important. It's so okay to have a conversation about, a broken bone, but it's much more difficult, specifically in a work environment, to say that you're overwhelmed or anxious or just not up for the day or up for the task that is ahead of you. And what we have been learning specifically from all of our NGO partners is that the stigma in mental health is really getting into the way for people getting the help they need. And therefore, we're making two interventions. One is we're using our voice to say it's okay to not be okay. And therefore contribute to that. And then we have a grant program where we give grants to partners that help us put the resources out there. Because even if you're getting over the burden of reaching out to get help, the reality is that there's still a big lack of resources available in the space of mental health, specifically for historically marginalized groups. So then we're working with our partners that are putting in the resources in order to give people access to the help they need. So that is the intervention that we're making. But that's really also the thread between the companies that I've worked with to really look at, yes, of course, we are a proud for-profit company. We make money, we employ a lot of people, and we make profit. And I always saying that unashamedly and proud, because I think a very good and healthy functioning private sector is a big chunk of a healthy society. But what I then also love to do is make sure that what these companies are doing is firstly truly serving the people with things they actually need and is helping them, but then also doing it in a way that is really serving multiple stakeholders, not only shareholders.
So, I have been very intrigued with the OLLY brand. And of course, we launched Under the Hood of Women's Health in May for Women's Health Month. When I think about OLLY and your products, they align very nicely to the life stages of women. When you came into the company, did you build out the life stages? Was it part of it? Like, what has the process been in terms of really building out women's health?
And that's absolutely right. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, right? Supporting women through these life stages, because what you're going to be needing as a teen girl is absolutely different than what you're going to be needing in a premenopause or postmenopause cycle. So what we're really trying to do is serve women through all of their stages, and then also make sure that within the areas we have supplements that are really supporting at a certain age. So that's exactly what we're doing. And one of the things that I love talking with you about, because OLLY is really a company that is serving millennials, but what we're now seeing is that the older millennials are getting to that premenopause, menopause stage, right? And the years that women can be either premenopausal or in menopause or postmenopausal is quite a stretch, and obviously is getting more of a voice and more airtime. And so that's sort of like a new cohort that we are going to be adding to the OLLY group soon, because sort of like the older millennials are now getting to that stage.
Going through perimenopause and hitting menopause, that year without period, and then postmenopause, where you have bone health, you have a heart health, all those other things. When we think about the journey of women, I think that's awesome that you're thinking of that and building that out. I also think it's interesting, just as a consumer, on the other side, if I start out as a kid, my mom's purchasing OLLY products for me as a teen, and I'm going through that journey, at every stage you grow with me. And I think that's really interesting. I'd like to sort of dig into that. So tell me about, since you've been leading the organization, like, how have you imagined that journey?
I think what the link is between the conversations that we were having about mental health and the conversations that we are having on women's health, there are quite a lot of parallels, right? Because it's still also quite stigmatized, and women are underserved with their needs. And I think there's also a specific challenge about underserving from taking the things they're struggling with to a healthcare professional, but then also the solutions that a healthcare professional has in order to address to address. I like to share the story that when I started talking with my general practitioners about my premenopausal struggles, and she was asking me, so what is really the biggest thing you're coping with? And I said, well, for me, the most difficult thing is mood swings. And then she started writing on a piece of paper and was asking, oh, what are you writing? She said, like, I'm writing you an antidepressant. I was like, oh, well, that is apparently then the solution of the medical system, right? And understandably, right? I am coming with a problem around mood swings, and the traditional solution for that is to give medication around mood swings. But then I started talking with the science team at OLLY, because when I started to investigate what solutions were out there, yes, there is a solution for night sweats, and there is a solution for vaginal dryness, and there is a solution for moodiness, but there's no holistic solution about all of the symptoms. So then the science team at OLLY start to work, and the Mellow Menopause product that we will be launching will address 11 symptoms of menopause. So it's really my one-stop shop for symptoms around premenopause and menopause. And I can tell you, Elizabeth, we haven't launched this project yet. We are in our clinical studies at this point in time, but the product that went into our clinical studies, we have a stage in the office, and I think our science VP needs to protect that almost with her life, because there's quite a lot of premenopausal women or men that have premenopausal wives that are really, really keen to continue to take the products because they're awesome. So super happy that we will be launching that. Super happy that, OLLY in that sense can contribute to, again, in a lighthearted way, raise the conversation. Because that's also the problem, Elizabeth. When I was getting my first menopausal problem, I was calling my friends and saying, I'm the youngest of my friend group, so they're all a couple of years ahead of me. And I said, like, why didn't you tell me this? Why did we never have a conversation about, you didn't tell me at first what it was to deliver a baby, and now you're not telling me this either, where it feels that we haven't made enough progress in terms of really having these honest conversations, right? And that's exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and why it is such a meaningful purpose to continue to engage in these conversations, because that's also the thing, right? If you cannot have the conversations, if you cannot be open about that, it's really, really difficult to get the support that you need. And then the support that is in place is one support, but, the holistic support is still missing. So absolutely happy that we're going to be able to contribute to that, both with our voice and with the products that we make and give to people.
In my interviews with other OBGYNs who specialize in the perimenopause, that midlife stage, they talk a lot about the fact that, physicians don't have time. So it's not only disinformation and misinformation, they don't have the time to educate the patients. So the fact that OLLY will come out with these products and make it more accessible to people to get it off the shelf is kind of nice. They give it a try. And I think dressing, because otherwise you have to go in to your physician for HRT, for all the different products, the prescriptions. And so I think that it'll be very interesting to see how you can support the community off the shelf, where they can go in and try it and experience it for themselves. The other thing I think that's really neat is that you're also addressing the life stages. And part of it, I don't know if it was done on purpose, where the teen, or it's based on the teen, as the teen continues to grow, millennials grow older, your audience, you realize you're growing with them. And so that I find very interesting, because if you're growing with them, there's something really organic and authentic about that, which makes you really believable.
And that's exactly what it is, Elizabeth. That's exactly what it is. We're growing with the people that we serve and the women that we serve. And as they are getting to these stages and these premenopausal stages, it's good to continue to adapt our portfolio with what their needs are. And obviously, there are multiple things, sort of like there is a role for many different solutions. I'm just proud that we at OLLY can look at one potential solution, which is how can VMS supplement really help you with all of the annoyances that women now experiences during these years in their lives, which are years when they still are expected to be highly productive, right? In their jobs, with growing kids, with so many things going on, the care of elderly parents. These are tough years to navigate, and sort of like going through these hormonal stages is not an easy thing. And I think the more we can support women, the better we can do, both in normalizing the conversations and, as I said, with the products that we have. And that normalizing the conversations is also so important. And obviously, who knows that better than you, right? Because that's the purpose of what you're doing. But I think it is important to double down on that, because what we bring to the table as OLLY is obviously quite a big brand voice. And I always feel so responsible that we're using that brand voice in a really solid way, right? To educate, to engage, to make fun of things, not take it too seriously, because that's also how you're going to break through the clutter and normalize the conversation, by making it lighthearted and fun and not too serious. So more and more people are willing to engage.
I think as well, to your point of getting attention and being irreverent and provocative and saying, you know what, we're going to go out there and we're going to put a stake in the ground and be a brand that cares and is willing. Because when women make jokes about this, when back to the normalizing the conversation, we have all these different ways of describing our things, if you will. But when you put it out there and you make it okay to talk about it, suddenly there's an interesting conversation going on. And I think that that's what's so interesting. Like, yeah, your job is to sell product. I mean that respectfully. You're a company, it is about that. But I love the fact that it is about, people, product, and planet, and really looking at how to serve the community. And I think that the mission of really addressing, so you're a wellness company, the mission of addressing and really supporting the stigma around mental health is just phenomenal. Because again, if you look at it through life stages, through different genders, you sort of cover the gamut, if you will. And so do you want to talk at all about that?
We rely a lot on our partners in order to inform our strategy, both internally and externally. What I'm always saying is that if you as a company want to have a platform about something, or if you want to contribute to a conversation, the first thing you need to do is look at your own organization and your own company and see what you're doing, right? So the first thing we did, we said we're going to be radically prioritizing mental health at OLLY. And the absolute biggest criteria for a mentally health company is a safe company, is a safe space where everybody can show up as their real authentic self. And we haven't always given all people an opportunity to show up as their real self, right? Some people were allowed to show up as their real self, but we have been tone policing others. We have been restricting others. So other CEOs talk to me about, we have an engagement score of 85%, as if that is a delivery. And a really great number, right? Because 85 seems quite high. But then you're wondering, so who is the 15% where the culture doesn't work for? And the answer that you will most likely find is historically marginalized groups are not getting the same experience than other groups. So we have said we're only going to be happy and we're only going to be satisfied when OLLY is a great place to work for 100% of the people that work at OLLY. No score lower than that is good enough, right? You need to create a space where every individual can show up as their real self, not as their best self, as their real self. Because if somebody has the space to be real, then they will sort of like rise to the occasion and also be their best self. So that's where we started. We then started what we call our mental health flower, because in a company, there are many things that contribute to mental well-being. It's all about acknowledgement, it is about reward, it is about time, it's about culture, it's about empowerment, it's about the freedom to do my job. There are many sort of petals of the flower that we have defined. And then we said, okay, what are the programs that we're having against that, and how can we do better? And one of the things that we came up with is our Mental Health Fridays. So every month we have one Friday, which is a mental health Friday. And for me, Elizabeth, these days are just the best. And I think for Ollie's, they are the best because it's really a day where, you're not getting any emails, right? Sometimes when you're in PTO and other works, you still get a lot of work. And most of the time, kids are going to school, partners going to work. So it's an opportunity for everybody that works at Ollie to really say, what do I need to do today for me to recharge myself? And I think at this point in time, it's probably one of the biggest and nicest benefits that get celebrated at Ollie, while we have super good benefits. So that's one of the things that we really celebrate and talk about. That is the internal work that we are doing. And we're doing that with partners as well. We're not going about it alone because, also when we started this journey, it's not a journey where there is a clear path on how you do these things, right? So we're relying on the experts on how to build that. External work is, as I said, it's really built upon two pillars. It's the pillar where we are reducing the stigma, because from our partner, Project Healthy Minds, we found that 60% of people don't get the help that they need. And even more so, the number that was even more shocking for me was it takes an average of 11 years for people to go seek help. And as I said, even if people are then getting over the barrier to find help, the resources are not available. And that's where we work with our partners like the Loveland Foundation and Seek Her, who are really looking at putting in the resources specifically focused on historically marginalized groups so people can get the support they need. So that's really how our mission works, with a strong internal component and a strong external component. And what I always think is important to say as well, Elizabeth, it's a journey. All of these things are journeys. I can say in the company, we're going to radically prioritize mental health, but we also have a lot to deliver. We have, we're running a business. Everybody is working really, really hard. So it's not that you just flip a switch and all of a sudden all of that is in place. It's hard work. It is trying, failing, trying again, learning, and see how you're really going to create that place where everybody feels they are having the opportunity to show up as their authentic self.
I think that you made a great point, which is if people can be their authentic selves, they'll rise to the occasion to show up as it will make them be their best selves. So, and it's acknowledging that. I think it's amazing that you got your philosophies. It's like really looking at this is who we are inside, and these are the things. And you're right, you're a company. We have to work hard to get our products out there. We're a business. This is such a fascinating conversation to me. Is there anything you feel like you'd like to share? So you said that you're gonna be launching a new product around perimenopause. Do you want to talk a little more about that?
What I feel really proud of is that we came up with a solution that truly addresses 11 different symptoms of menopause. So that the OLLY Mellow Menopause is really one-stop shop for women that have premenopause, menopausal, postmenopausal complaints or issues. And as I said, I have been taking it because I got my hands on some early samples, and it really, really works for me, which is just absolutely fantastic.
This has been an awesome conversation and very interesting. I love the way you're leading the company and everything you're doing to really foundationally address, the stigma around mental health in terms of supporting, creating that culture. You have an opportunity now to give a message to women around the world of all ages, of all backgrounds, and of all cultures. What do you want to leave them with?
I think I'm going to try and make your big question a little smaller. I am going to talk a little bit about advices that other women have given me that has really helped and worked for me. One thing I've learned over the way, and this advice came from another amazing woman and friend, is to lead with an open heart and a calm mind. And I think as a leader, that is where I hold myself accountable. And I'm always saying, like, I'm perfect in leading with an open heart and a calm mind on days where everything goes smoothly. But I'm definitely getting tested on days that are not. So I continue to raise the bar to lead like that is definitely one of my drivers, but also one of these amazing advices that I have gotten. And the other, and I'm sure this will resonate with you as well, Elizabeth, is about taking what we do very seriously, but never take yourself too seriously. And that has been an amazing advice that I was given as well. We're so ingrained and passionate about the work that we do that sometimes it becomes a little bit too personal, right? So how can you take what you do highly seriously, but not take yourself too seriously? You just give it your best effort every single day. And some days it will work out and some days it will not. And it's perfectly fine either way. So that is probably a little bit of a smaller answer than the big question that you asked me, but hopefully that is interesting for the listener.
Well, I actually think it's great. And I think it's such a personal answer. It is a big question. But I love the fact that lead with an open heart. And I think the other thing of, take work seriously, but yourself not seriously is great advice. I mean, gee, I wish someone told me that. So thank you for that. And thank you for getting under the hood with me today and sharing all of your experience and all of the amazing work you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me, Elizabeth, and thank you for the amazing work that you're doing.
Thanks for listening to Under the Sisterhood. If you haven't already, please give us a quick rating and review on Apple or Spotify. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn so you can hear from more amazing women. This podcast is created and hosted by Under the Sisterhood LLC and Elizabeth Elfenbein, produced by Elizabeth Elfenbein and Matt Butler, and edited by Matt Butler. The music is by Ayla Schaefer. Her song, Rose.